All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling a huge question. How in the world does the largest democracy on Earth govern itself at the most local level, the village? We're talking about a system of grassroots democracy on a scale you just won't find anywhere else. First, let's just try to wrap our heads around the numbers here. India has a population of over 1.4 billion people. It's a number so big, it's hard to even picture. Governing a country this size is, without a doubt, one of the greatest challenges of our time. Okay, now hold on, because this is where it gets really wild. Nearly 900 million of those people, that's almost two-thirds of the entire country, live in rural villages. To put that into perspective, that's more people living in villages than the entire population of Europe. So, that leads to the big question, right? With so many people spread out across more than 600,000 villages, how do you make democracy feel real? How do you make sure that people have a genuine say in the things that affect their lives every single day? So here's our game plan. We'll start with the massive scale of the challenge. Then we'll zero in on the core of it all, this idea of power to the people, and break down the clever three-tier system that makes it work. Then we'll see it in action with some amazing stories of change, meet some surprisingly young democratic voices, and finally, get this, we'll trace the whole thing back to its ancient roots. Let's start with that challenge. I mean, think about it. Governing that many villages means dealing with an incredible mix of different needs, cultures, and local problems. A one-size-fits-all plan from way up in the capital? No way that's going to work. So to figure this out, we have to zoom way, way in. We're going past the national government, past the state government, all the way down to the most basic building block of Indian democracy, the village itself. So just picture a village. Let's call it Lakshmanpur. If a big storm washes out the main road, or the school needs a new roof, or the farmers need better irrigation, they can't exactly call up the prime minister, right? The solutions have to come from right there in the community. But how? And the answer? It's a system called Panchayati Raj. The best way to think about it is local self-government. It's all about bringing the power to make decisions directly to the people. This isn't just about voting every few years for someone far away. Nope. This is about having a direct hand in shaping your own community's future. But hold on, this isn't just some casual, informal get-together. The Panchayati Raj is a really well-thought-out system, an architecture for democracy that's built from the ground up. Let's break down how it's structured. Okay, so it's a three-tier system. At the very foundation, you have the Gram Panchayat, right there in the village, where members are elected by all the adults who live there. Then you go up a level to the Panchayat Samiti, which acts as a link between a whole bunch of villages. And at the top of this local structure, you have the Zila Parishad, coordinating everything for the entire district. It's like building blocks, one on top of the other. And here's something absolutely crucial. This system is designed to be inclusive. By law, a full 1/3 of all seats are reserved just for women, which is huge for breaking down old barriers. Plus, there are special rules to make sure that people from marginalized communities don't just get a voice, they get a guaranteed seat at the decision-making table. Okay, so that's the system on paper. But what does it actually look like when people put it to work? Let's get into some incredible stories of how local leaders are using this exact system to completely transform their communities. So take Muneshwar Kamble. Back in 2017, they were elected Sarpanch, that's the village head, in Maharashtra. Now, as a transgender person, this election was a huge deal. It just proves that in this system, leadership can and should come from every single part of society. Their motto really says it all. Service to the village is service to the public. And the stories just keep coming. You've got Vandana Bahadur Mehta. She became the first woman to lead her village, pushing back against old traditions to focus on education and getting other women involved. And then there's Papatra Baguji Pawar. His village had a totally different problem, a crippling drought. So what did he do? He got the entire community behind him, leading these massive projects to save water and plant trees. And he literally brought his village back from the brink. And just look at this. This is what it leads to. This isn't just an idea in a meeting. It's a real check dam, holding back precious water, making the land green again. This is what real local leadership can build. All right, now for something I think is just amazing. What if democracy wasn't just for grown-ups? Well, this initiative asks that exact question, and it has created real ways for the youngest voices in the village to actually be heard. They've set up actual children's assemblies and children's councils, giving kids a real say in the stuff that affects their lives.
And get this, in some places, these kids' councils have successfully worked to stop child labor and child marriage, convincing parents that school's the better choice. How incredible is that? Just look at this example from Rajasthan. They call it the Children's Parliament. And it's not just a cute name. These kids are learning how democracy works by actually doing it, advocating for things they need in their community. So how does it work? Well, first, they attend night schools to get educated. Then they hold real elections. I'm talking campaigns, voter cards, the whole shebang. The winners form a cabinet, and they get to work, campaigning for things like better schools, clean water, and an end to child labor. It's an incredible training ground for the next generation of leaders.
So you might be thinking, wow, this is a pretty clever modern system. But what if I told you the basic idea is actually ancient, like really ancient?
Yeah, the concept of organizing society like this, from the village to a bigger group to an even bigger one, it's a very old idea in India. In fact, the blueprint for the very system we've been talking about was written down thousands of years ago.
Okay, this quote is just mind-blowing. It's from a book on how to run a state called the Arthashastra, written all the way back around 300 BCE. It literally lays out the plan for setting up district headquarters for every 100 villages. The basic three-tiered structure we see today, the core idea was there over 2,300 years ago. That's just an incredible legacy.
So let's wrap this up. What's the takeaway? India's system of rural governance is this really smart three-tier structure that mixes direct participation with elected representation. And the bottom line is that the Panchayati Raj system gives hundreds of millions of people the actual tools to manage their own development and build their own futures. And that really leaves us with one final thought. The whole point of this is to empower people to solve their own problems. So it makes you wonder, right? If you had that kind of direct power in your own community, what's the very first issue you would want to tackle?